this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, Mike is rolling solo because Grandpa Bennett is catching Z's right now, and you can listen to his bedtime stories at a later date. I always rib him, when he's not here. So I'm sitting here with Miss Karolyn Smith, who is an Army veteran and an MP at that. She spent time rolling around Iraq in the gun, and then eventually wound up leaving service, did some personal security, some contract work, which is really cool and a unique backstory, and I'm looking forward to getting into it here, because there are some cool sea stories that come along with this, but also she winds up going off, and there's this whole nother life that I have bared witness to in hearing her backstory and everything else, where she and an adoptive kitten grew together with their various injuries, and ultimately she wound up writing a children's story off of it, and there's numerous threads that can go, and we'll get into it on Cigars and Sea Stories. So without further ado, Ms. Karolyn Smith, welcome to the show.
Why, thanks, Spike. This is really, really, really cool to be here because, I get to have swinging dicks talk about my kitten. Like that's the epitome of like, right? When you've reached that level when you can get, hard charging dudes to talk about your pussy. That's great. I love it. Right?
Now, you have spent a lot of, you've had a unique career where you were in the team room with a lot of other hard chargers.
Yeah, for me, I was an athlete. I actually raced on the velodrome, and
which I looked that up, by the way.
Yeah, I should challenge a couple people to see if they know what that is. So it's European cycling, and so for me, I was always an individualist, but I was always at such a different level, just in the sense of determination and really individuality. So. I actually enlisted when I was 29, and I'm a daughter of a Vietnam veteran. I'm a granddaughter of 2 World War II veterans. And, we have service all the way back, and I knew I wanted to serve, but man, being a pro athlete at 20 years old, it was a very good deal. A lot of shenanigans, a lot of sea story shenanigans. And some of them I can't disclose because, don't want to be arrested or something.
Right, you're probably swapping blood. Don't even lie. Live strong. Too soon? Was that too soon? Oh,
well, dude, I lived down in Australia. So I moved down to Australia in 1994, and I was like 21. And endless alcohol, endless insanely gorgeous dudes, a house on the beach that was paid for by the sponsors, and I was there for like 13 months. And so it was. It's a pretty goddamn good. Yeah, it was good. It was good. I'm like grinning. That's how good it was. And it was that long ago. So when I enlisted, I enlisted about a year or so after 9/11. I went on delayed entry because everybody and their mother was trying to get in at that time. And ironically, I had actually gone to the Marine Corps first. I went to the recruiter and I said, hey, my grandfather was a full bird colonel in the Marine Corps. And he passed away before I was born, but I got to read about him in books. He was such a badass. He was such a hard charger. And that's probably, genetically where I get some of this stuff from. And to the recruiter, he looks at me. He's like, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 29. He's like, yeah, you're too old. And me being the asshole MP that, I ended up being, I was like, do you know who I am? Like, I'm in books. Like, I have a fan club. The guy's like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Like, get out of here. And I'm like, God damn. And I was pretty dejected. But then luckily, I ended up swinging by my parents' house to say hi. And their next door neighbor was outside and his buddy was in Army Greens. And I was kind of telling him what happened. And the guy's like, why don't you come to the Army? And I'm like, I hadn't realized he had a recruiter badge on. And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to do the craziest fucking job on the whole goddamn planet that women don't typically get to do. I want to be stationed overseas because I already knew the value of living overseas because I lived in Australia. Mm-hmm. And I want a rapid deployment unit. I want to go to war now. I want to fuck shit up now. And they're like, oh, yeah, you need to be an MP. I was like, okay, let's go. So I ended up with, it was great, man. It kind of sucked in the sense of, when I went to basic, it sucked because I was 29, actually turned 30 in basic. And, I'm wallowing with the 19, 20-year-olds who were, crying and upset and stressed out. And me, I'm just like, oh my God, this is the easiest shit ever. Like, let's go. And I didn't make a whole lot of friends. I was kind of an asshole anyway. But my position with them was, hey, don't listen to the decibel that they're yelling at you. Listen to the instruction. And I ended up being more of like the mom, right? And the mentor and the mom. And I got leadership roles really quickly. And I ended up top 2%. So I went into what's called the fast track program. The Army, basically, if you're in that top 2%, not only do you do your MP school, your OSIT, your basic in your school, but you also get extended training. So the down days, which were minimal back in 2003, I was still in school. So I actually went to PSD school through the Army while I was, and people were gardening and shining their shit and all this other stuff. I was still at school. So I basically went to school the entire 18 weeks. And that would lend to some really cool stuff down the line. But so I went to the 127th MP, 709th MP Battalion, 18th MP Brigade, which is the most historic brigade for the MP Corps. And it was just, when I got there in Germany, it was just a whole company of awesome people, overachievers, people that were just like me. And it worked out really well. I got assigned to a PSD team, deployed to Iraq in 2004. And probably everybody, that listens onto this, or a lot of them at least, have been on deployments around that time, 3, 4, 05, something like that. And it was really bad. It was
right. Yes, it was.
Yeah, right. And you guys probably had a little bit worse. I mean, at least we had something around us. For us, we were right off of Route Irish, down in Baghdad. And so every day you went to work, you went left or right and you were on Irish, and that was the start of your day. And it was really bad. But it also showed me who I was individually, I mean, as a team member, but it gave me a sense of just every single thing I needed to learn about myself. You learn about it. And, it got really bad. September 7th of 2004, my team leader, him and I were dismounted. We were up in Taji and the Taji area, and dismounted, and sniper shot him in the face and killed him. And, those are just things it just changed. And it's weird because we'd already seen like kids and moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas all killed, not by us, but it's just so different, if it's one of your own.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just unleashes a side of you that you don't ever in this lifetime get to tap into. And that's a very vengeful side, and the redemption side, and the payback side. And as a woman and as a dude, it's probably a little bit different, but for a woman, it's just so, whoever designed you, whether you believe in God or whatever you believe in, it's just something nobody ever tells you about, or you never knew you can tap into.
Well, but it's also like hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
Oh my motherfucking God, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, I swear to God, I remember, and this will be a small C story for you, but I remember this dude, his rear gun, and it was a really busy intersection. We got a little bit congested, and there was a black BMW, which of course is all the bad guys. And it comes hauling ass around the corner, and there's kind of a pile of cars about 100 meters away from me. And this dude disregards, and he just literally barrels up, and I'm thinking, God fucking damn it, this is a goddamn car bomb. Shit, I don't want to do one of these again. So I zipper the car a little bit. And he stops and he gets out, and my Arabic is okay. So I'm kind of commanding him, hey, like, get the fuck out, turn the fuck around, get over here. What the fuck are you doing? And I had my gaiter on, and I pulled my gaiter down because he was kind of looking like he couldn't hear me. And so I pull my gaiter down a little bit, and he kind of leans his body in and like to kind of hear what I'm saying. And he recognizes, holy fuck, this is a woman.
Right.
And he literally, and you know what I'm talking about, he literally flicks his hand, like flicks me off, right?
Right.
And turns around, and he puts his hands towards his waist, and he walks away from me. And I have never been so fucking violent in my entire life. And apparently, and I don't recall some of this, but apparently I Daisy Duked off the top of the truck, and I ran up to him, and I butt stroked him in the head with my M4, and a whole bunch of other shit, and just that pure vengeance, just that pure things that and then it's very weird when you have to kind of cradle that back up and put it in the cage, when you come back to society. And that's a whole different caveat into, why my PTSD was so bad. But for me, I ended up being pretty lucky. Our PSD ops, people recognized me in the sense that they were like, holy shit, man, that's a chick in the 50. I want to get in that car. Like, I want to get in that truck. Like that's the car I want. And it's mostly just because they want to stare at my ass because I have a really great ass. But right.
I was gonna be like, yeah, I'd be a dismount.
Right.
Be a dismount back there. What are you,
Right.
Penny? Are you looking outboard? No.
Well, I'm Sicilian, so my bottom half, I'm black for the bottom.
I'm married
down,
an Italian.
down, right?
I know exactly what you mean. They're just
and
offshore.
So that was kind of like, we had some CPAC guys, civilian police officers that would do ride-alongs with us during that time, and every now and then you just look down and they, you'd catch them, and they're like, God damn it, I got captured. So it kind of transitioned in the fact of, I got injured the very last day. Shape charge, light pole. And the issue is my problem is that adrenaline had masked sort of what the injuries actually were. And we didn't realize kind of really what was going on until after we, left and went back. We literally went back to Germany within 48 hours. We were done. We were done with our deployment. And I really wanted to do a full 20 in the Army. That was my whole goal. I wanted to do 100 years in the Army. It's the greatest fucking job on the whole planet. You get to beat people legally. Like you get to.
There are the beatings. God, right. I forgot about the beatings.
Right.
Man.
And I'm being a little facetious, but you just get to be the best of you.
Yeah. Every once in a while somebody comes ramming up on the VCP or whatever, and you're like, yes, I get to rip this fucker out of his car. Oh, yeah, yes.
Like it's just the most amazing surge of like, I don't give a fuck if I get killed because this is going to be awesome. Like this is how the Spartan dudes felt. Like I get it,
right?
And it's so it's so invigorating in like 5 different levels. Like it's so sexually appealing and it's so visceral and it's so mind exploding, and just you end up in this heightened state that just like it surprised me sometimes of how fucking awesome I ended up being every now and then, and
now,
then these acts.
Yeah, sorry.
These acts of heroism that you see. We had 2 other female gunners as well, and just the shit you see, it's so amazing to see, and it was really polarizing. I remember the very first firefight we got into. We were up in Taji again. What a shithole that is. And we're at a Iraqi police station, and there was some communique that had come down and said, after afternoon prayer, we're going to come kick your ass because we want that station back. It's going to be ours. Blood's going to run through the street. We're like, fucking come get it, bud. Like, come on. I'm cool with that. And so we actually went to the station, and we're actually kind of doing a route recon, trying to check. Have you ever seen Clear and Present Danger?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay. You know that part in the movie where there's nobody in the city and it's like midday?
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what happened. And I remember going around thinking, holy fuck, man, art is like now my life. Like it's imitating my life. And I remember chuckling to myself, like going, this is really good. This is going to be really fucking bad because I remember the movie and this is how it happened. And,
every firefight starts with Ghost Town.
Right. And it was just something that you only see in movies that was now just replaying. And I literally was like, I remember chuckling about it. I was like, motherfucker, this is really how it happens. This is how shit goes down. And so we're basically going into the kill zone. We're trying to get into the station to set our own team up. There's already 2 teams there. And so I have an AT4 and I have the saw, and I go to just about to go take it up into the fighting position, and I have my Mark 19 mounted. And we come up, and this NCO, and I was a private at the time, this NCO runs up to the truck and he yells to me, and he's like, backblast area clear, and he runs away. And I was like, I know that means something. I know that means something, because there's so much shit going on. Like, there's so much going on. It's all your senses are a little bit crazy, because it's the first real firefight, and there's so much adrenaline running through that I can't control it. and it's just going a little bit haywire, and I'm getting very tunnel visioned, and I can see what's going on. And then all of a sudden we have concurrent AT4s going off in the corners that are up in the fighting positions above the IP station. And I was like, holy fuck, like, this is so cool, like twirling hair, like metaphorically, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then all of a sudden you start hearing this ping, 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 and it's ping. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, total blonde moment. And it's these fuckers that are shooting at us, and it's hitting the back of my truck that I'm standing in front of now. And I was like, oh fuck, this is how it's going down. And so I didn't have time to go up to the fighting position, which I was actually just going to relieve somebody. And they were doing their thing. So I get back in the turret, and my buddy he's this like 5'0" Irish kid. He's next to me. He's got his Mark 19 too. And then all of a sudden people start poking their heads up over the walls. And, well, okay. So, you've watched Terminator, right? And remember that part where the metal guy gets shot with the shotgun and he splits in half?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. So I launch a Mark 19 round, and that's exactly what happens.
Nailed
it. Right. I remember looking at my buddy going, holy shit, that really happened.
Yes.
Like, it was just so like, I don't know. It was just so unreal that it just kept playing different movies in my, like, every situation was playing all these movies in my head.
Right.
Of course your due diligence of fighting and shit. But so apparently there was 96 of these AIF forces. And only 2 got away, and that tells you how bad it was. And we had no injuries whatsoever. And we actually broke contact and chased them down to the hospital. Did a cordon search of the hospital because we're MPs. That's what we do. And we found the 98 people lost their lives that day. All the bad guys, and they didn't fucking come back. We're like, right. We told you. Like, you can fuck with like infantry, you can fuck with all the other like fucking units, but don't fuck with the MPs, man, because we're assholes by nature, and we have a lot more weapon systems, and we're just fucking awesome. And all the infantry guys that are listening are like, go fuck yourself, I hate you. But,
well, and it reminds me of a CAT team. Anytime Army MPs, well, because MP has 2 different sides. It's basically like field, and then you have the PMO garrison type stuff. But I worked with a lot of field MPs when I was in Kajaki and in Sangin on the Afghan tour. And you're right, a lot of you guys are assholes. But it's funny, though, because a combined anti-armor team or a MAP platoon in the Marine Corps typically rolls around in a similar fashion to like the MPs, which is cool because you can't tell us apart. So we would do all sorts of mobile transpo, but then they could supplement on screening missions. And on my first 2 tours in Ramadi, we were in CAT teams. So we were rolling around 4 gun trucks and a highback somewhere in the mix. And then we would roll split section, all that shit was urban. So we did 3-7 weapons coming, 3-7 did back-to-back Ramadi tours. And then I went to Quantico and then wound up going to Kajaki with the MPs and spent the majority of the time in Kajaki and then loved Sangin. Let me tell you what, that place, what a fucking shithole. There are so many people who need to be pistol whipped there, and I only got to, a lot of them. But, because that's all an M9's good for in Afghanistan, frankly. Thank God they put a lanyard on it. Because every once in a while I get a little overzealous pistol whipping somebody, and it bounces out like, Doc, hand that to me. Like, oh God, can I get him some gauze? Fuck no, son of a bitch. Goddamn
now you know
terror.
the secret of why we actually have lanyards, right?
Right, exactly. I'm gonna use this thing.
And there's a little bit of a dynamic difference from the Marine Corps MP to the Army MP, because in the Army you have correctional MPs, you have L&O MPs, Law and Order MPs, and then you have more on the combat MP side. And for me, I was on a rapid deployment unit. The 127th is we don't do corrections, right? So if we end up apprehending somebody, as we did in Iraq, we'll take them to the in-processing center, then let the cage kickers, those MPs, take care of them.
Cage kickers,
right? Those people are total assholes. God. You think we're assholes? They are legit assholes. So for me personally, so I had a 50, a SAW, a Mark 19, an AT4, a Mossberg, an M4, and an M9, and that was for me.
Yes.
Right, and then my TC had a 202 303 M9, driver had an M4 M9. And that was one gun truck. That was one MP gun truck. And, days were, times 3, nights were times 4, sometimes times 5. And you just did not fuck with us. We actually had tanker units who really needed support. And while we'd, be on the MSR or whatnot, and we'd like lay down for them, just throw hell down for them. And they're just like, you know what? We fucking hate MPs, but we kind of love you right now. And I tell you what, man. So, think about it this way. We rarely went into the DFAC because we were on 12-hour patrols. I've got 200 some odd combat patrols between 04, 05. We were really, really busy. And every now and then we be able to go into victory and have like normal food. And so I'd have my sauce slung, my M4 ready, and my M9 on. And you'd walk in the DFAC and it would literally feel like the whole DFAC would stop and be like, shh, holy fucking shit, who are you? Like, well, twirl hair.
Stare all you want, Air Force.
Right. Well, I always tried to sit next to the guys with the beards because I was like, oh, you're so pretty and you'll understand me. Like, you'll get me. Like, I'm not really an asshole. I'm just, people make me an asshole. But, so.
Now, you wound up working with the bearded guys in contracting, though, afterwards, didn't you?
Yeah, I got really lucky. So when I was trying to make the decision if I wanted to stay or go, I was contacted while I was still in Germany. And again, we didn't really know the injuries I had were what they were. I knew that I was suffering a little bit, but I think all of us, when you come back, you kind of put your head down and you go to work, right? You got things to do. And the quiet times were really bad for me. That's when my PTSD was pretty bad. And I didn't like the quiet times. So I needed to keep being sped up. And so Os and Hunter out in Virginia and a couple of other folks. So I ended up getting on with them. So they had actually contacted me through my Army email account. And I think it was from one of the CPAC guys that was traveling around that probably leaked the info. And I ended up, it's probably the most amazing experience. So we're a lot more of a clandestine mobile response. You would find us in, how do you say, bad places doing extraction. There was a lot of HVT, PSD, CPP. So same thing I was doing in the Army, but at a rate of, $140,000, $150,000, $160,000 a year.
Right.
And for me, every 4 months I'd come home for a couple days, refit, and then wherever I was deployed to, I would go, and my team was all, retired MARSOC guy, dev guy, team guy, KEG guy, JSOC guy, whatever it was. And I was for about the first 5 years, I was the only woman. And you just learned that while you wanted to play with your food, my teammates, because they're like the most, I hate the Marine Corps because you guys are the most beautiful human beings on the planet. You're the most unfaithful, not you, of course, but it's such a love-hate affair. But I was just around the most gorgeous dudes on the planet. And they had me as their own, right? I was their sister. They looked after me. We were in some really shitty places all over this globe, and it didn't matter, and to be able to be operational. And I know that word is so cliche, and I know that dudes cringe when a woman says it, but really when you go operational as a woman, it's the most exhilarating, proud moment you can have. Because in fairness, when I was younger, I didn't know women could not be SF. And I'm certainly not a feminist. You know me by now. But I really thought, hey, you know what? One day I go to the military. Fuck yeah. I'm going to be like, an SF, whatever. I'm going to be. And because I didn't want to be better than the men, I just wanted to work with exceptional people. Right. And that was always my theory as a young athlete, because I was so well developed in my sport. I never trained with women because I always thought I'm going to train with the men because they'll make me more exceptional. They'll make me faster. And they did. And so my concept is, the more I get to hang out with these exceptional people and I'm pushed to the limit, I'm going to be that much better. And, and so, when it kind of hit me, oh shit, women aren't allowed in the SF side or the soft community or whatever it is. Well, okay, fuck it. I'll find a way to fulfill that for myself, because it wasn't so that everybody could see. It was so that I knew I can hang out with the exceptional men and be a part of them and be amongst them and be operational with them and be very successful at it.
Right.
And so after about 5-6 years, I actually got contacted by Oracle and ended up on Oracle's protective detail on the corporate side. So I switched from contracting to corporate, and was with Oracle for about 3.5 years, and then resigned from Oracle because I was about to head off into surgery, and I knew I was going to take a long time for the recovery that I was going to go through.
Right. And it was in that moment, though, during convalescence, or like, did you just say, okay, I'm going to step away from the game now entirely, and then, like, I'm trying to work in how you found your cat. You know,
how does everybody? So when I resigned from Oracle, I got really lucky. Second of all, the VA was really bad to me. I know we hear all these stories, and I was treated horridly inside of the VA because the VA kept saying, "Well, women are not in combat. Tell us what really happened." And I had a cracked L4, I had a herniated L5, and I had a slipped L5S1 since '05. And when I went into the VA system at the end of '05, beginning of '06, they took an MRI. They knew what was going on. I didn't at the time. And so they started me, basically kind of bandaging, therapy, physical therapy, all that other shit. In 2010, that's when they started putting me on high dose opioids. And they left me on there for about 4.5 years. And so when I resigned from Oracle, it was pretty much like, God damn, my spine's coming unglued. And I got into this program. It's called Operation Mend, and it's for Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, and it's out of UCLA. And when I got into this program, I felt like I was going to have a life. I was seriously depressed at the time because I was in so much pain. I couldn't maintain a relationship because not only was I an asshole just by proxy, but I was such an asshole to everybody because I was in such bad pain. But far be it for me to go around bitching and complaining I'm in pain, because I revert back to the times on deployment when there was a lot of fucking pain. And you just learn, you just don't go around bitching about it, because I don't want to hear you bitch. So I don't want to hear myself bitch. So you just kind of shut up and deal with it. And so for me, when I realized that, shit, you know what, I may have a chance at having like a normal life. One day I was on Facebook, and the San Diego Humane Society, it just scrolled through, and there was a picture of this cat, and she has this super striking face, and it looks like God just dipped his finger in an inkwell and just ran it down her nose. Mm-hmm. And the story with her is that she was found in a field. She was 8 days old. Her umbilical cord had wrapped around her paw, her rear paw. She had no mother's milk. She had no nutrients. She had no shelter. She had no nothing. And you could tell she'd been trying to get up and move forward because her umbilical cord had been tearing from her belly button. So she was in this catastrophic pain. She said, fuck it. I need to move forward with absolutely nothing, no food ever from her birth. And her story was my story. And so I had inquired, and I said, hey, is she available for adoption? They're like, yeah, but we want to tell you there's two things. A, she comes with a little boy, because it's a little boy that they put in with her to help her heal, because she was not recovering very well when they did the amputation. And they bonded. And you're gonna, if you go to adopt them, you're gonna have to adopt both because they're a bonded pair. But she also comes with a problem. She's an amputee. And I was like, well, how the fuck is that a problem? Like, I have friends that are amputees. Like, I have some really hot friends. And I think of Derek Whita. I think of that guy. Or Derek Carver. Like, all these super hot fucking dudes that are amputees. And not that I'm like, a weird, like, fetish for amputees or anything, but they're all fucking super hot. Like, you don't ever see an unattractive
Don't lie.
amputee.
You like the fucked up ones. That's... We all know.
Actually, my therapist
damaged
says, right?
to some extent. Like, I like them a little beat up.
Fuck yeah, man! I like the ones that you can't polish the dents out of. Right? It just gives them more character.
Right.
Right. And so anyway, I went, and by that point in time, Congressman Duncan Hunter, prior Marine, you guys should know him. He had picked me as the 2014 Veteran of the Year for the 71st District here in San Diego. And that was pretty amazing to me because it did two things. It gave me a platform, one that I didn't know I was going to have. And then it also, I do about 60 hours a year in community service for my veteran community here in San Diego. And so it wasn't really about service because everybody serves. And, there's a fuck ton of veterans here in San Diego. So it was really amalgamation of, the time I'd put into volunteering and blah, 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 whatever. And so when I went to pick up the kittens, the Humane Society recognized who I was because it'd been on the news and the paper and whatnot. And they said, hey, we'd love to do a commercial with you. And I was like, done. What do you want to do? And they said, well, disabled veteran adopts disabled kitten. We're going to do a PSA about adopt, don't shop. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And so I did this commercial, and it's called One Hero of the Million Meow Mission. And it's a fucking tearjerker, and I can't even watch it myself. Fucking makes me cry, and I hate crying. It's like so sappy. It's like
a Sarah McLachlan.
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
For the arms of an angel. You're welcome.
Dude, I literally, if that commercial comes out, I have to mute it. Right?
They guilt you. Right? They guilt you. You know what I do? I turn that thing up and I go, give him the fucking needle. No, I'm just,
no, you don't.
Hateful bastard.
You know what? No, you don't. You're so full of shit. You're a softie. Fuck off. So
that's why I don't have cable. Sarah McLachlan version.
You know what I'm gonna do? Oh, I got a plan. I'm a fucking MP, man. I know what I'm gonna do. Anyway, so I want you to cry when I do it too. I want to hear about it.
It's not gonna happen. Smith. It's not gonna happen. Listen.
This is probably why I can't get a date, because I'm an outward asshole. Right? This is probably why, I have PTSD therapy every week. And finally I'm not a train wreck anymore. I'm just a challenge. So that's good. But it's interesting when you're like, I acknowledge I'm an asshole. And so anyway, that's a whole nother story. So I went and did the commercial and the commercial went out. And so initially, like I said, it was disabled veteran adopts disabled kitten. Well, and then People Magazine online picked it up and they flipped it and they said disabled kitten adopts disabled veteran. And then the Today Show online picked up, and then it really went all the way out to Europe, right? It went on, I think it was like 60 or 70 different TV, newscasters, whatever. And I was like, holy fuck, this is great. But all the while, so I'm preparing for my surgery, didn't think much about it, ended up going up to UCLA. And so I had a brand new, it's called a biomorphogenic. And you have to Google it because I had to Google it. So basically what it is so from my belly button down, I have plates and screws that are pinned my 4 and my 5, my L4, L5, L5S1. And it's got a biotech. So the biotech is creating my own genetic bone back into my spine.
Very cool. That's some X-Men shit right there.
Right? That's like Bionic Woman shit. And I want like her cuffs and shit. Like I want her I want that shit.
That's awesome.
Right? Like someday when I grow
rebuild her.
Right. Someday when I grow up and get a podcast, I want that to be my intro song.
Right. It's just you running up hills. No. That's awesome.
So so I was in bed for so they actually did my spinal fusion through the front. And it was long. It was about a 9-hour surgery. They had to take all my contents from my insides, put them outside, fix my spine, put all that shit back in. And I was in bed for about 2.5, 3 months. It was long. Then I was on a walker for about a month and a half or so, and so I didn't realize the story that was creating itself predicated off that one commercial until I kind of got caught up with emails and stuff like that, and I was like, holy fuck, this story, this kind of basic story is now become a life of its own. It's on Waggles, it's got Waggles, you wouldn't even know about it. But it's Waggle TV. It's got 1.5 million viewers. It just went sort of super crazy. And so then what I did was I was like, you know what? My whole goal is just to structurally figure out a way to solve. Her name is Sophia, my kitten. She's not a kitten anymore, but I wanted to solve her structural issue being an amputee. I saw my friends with cool prosthetics. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go grab a prosthetic. And then I realized, holy fucking shitballs, nobody has a prosthetic for cats. Well, fuck. Right. Okay, that's fine. No worries. And I went down to Fab Lab, which is a volunteer tech lab down here in San Diego, ran by a former Marine. That's why I love you guys. Yes. And yeah, he was hot too, but of course he was fucking married. They're all fucking married. I fucking hate all you. Right. And so, I said, hey man, I've got something interesting. Can you help me create, here's the design I want. Can you help me create a 3D printed prototype for this? And he's like, yeah. Fuck, I don't know. Let's try. And so that's what we did. We created the first ever detachable 3D printed prosthetic for a cat. We have 4 prototypes. We were actually waiting on the 4th prototype, but it wasn't really a funding issue. It was more that he ended up developing some brand new type of 3D printer, put it onto the market, and now he's like a gazillionaire, and he's kind of hard to find. So nice. He's like, thanks a lot, Marine. Let me down. You're like my ex-boyfriend. Oh, yeah,
I hope he's listening, and we will invite him on the show.
No, he's a great. I don't begrudge him, man. He's a capitalist. He made a better widget, right? And it kind of reminds me of the widget you're making, like your 5-paragraph the business plan. Yeah, your 5-paragraph business plan. Like it's the same thing. You know, you made something so simplistic, and I'll say something about it later because I think it's really, really important to bring that up. But you made something so simplistic and created a better widget, and it's fucking amazing. But I digress. Let me go backwards. So anyway, we ended up creating the prototype, and then it really caught fire. So every time I'd go to the lab, there'd be kids in there. Their parents would be, this is a 3D prototype lab. Mm-hmm. So you donate X amount of hours to the lab to help them do their projects. And once you've completed that requirement, you get to use the lab. And this is like $1 million products in here that you couldn't afford. Normal people don't afford. Right. So you can go in there with if you're doing a dissertation, if you're doing a thesis, if you're starting a business, whatever you're doing, you give your time, and then they'll give you the room and the space and the equipment. You can create whatever you need to create. And it's a pretty amazing deal. So anyway, every time I'd be in there, and the little kids would be like, tell me the story. I don't have kids. And I was like, fuck. How do I keep telling you this story? I don't have kids. I don't know how to keep telling you the story. And I like kids. I like other people's kids. Right. And so I was like, oh fuck, you know what? I'll just make a children's book. And that's sort of always been my personality. Oh shit, let's try the hardest thing that I have no experience with. Fuck it, let's try it. Let's see what happens. So I created a children's book, and it's called Sophia the Bionic Cat. It is the true story of a disabled veteran and an amputee kitten, and how through technology and perseverance we overcome. And I had a mentor during this, Robbie Grayson, good guy. And he was my mentor during this process, and he linked me with a guy, or actually he sort of did it on the back end, who created this new type of font, and it's called Open Dyslexic. So the book is written in an Open Dyslexic font. So that means if you, the reader, has dyslexia, you're going to read my book the way I wrote it, not the way dyslexia tends to kind of jumble things up.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. That is very cool. Right?
First children's book that has it. So there's a lot of firsts in this book. And again, it's true story. It's got this Open Dyslexic font. And then from there, it kind of caught on. And people through Sophia's social media. So Sophia, she's got, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter underneath Sophia the Bionic Cat. And people literally started reaching out and saying, hey, would you come and speak to our kids at our elementary school? Hey, would you come, speak at the library? And then so eventually what happened is this book is now in every San Diego County library, including Coronado, which is pretty cool because that's where all the cool, awesome, beautiful men hang out at.
Some of them.
Ode to my the teen guys. And then I literally just did a grind, man. I went to every single Barnes and Noble that was within my area, told them my story, told them why they needed this book, and they brought the book in. And ended up, so now the book is available on Amazon, but it's also available on the shelves at every single Barnes & Noble nationwide.
Very cool. That is fantastic.
Right. And so basically what I was supposed to do in disclosure, I actually didn't know this, but apparently what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to contact corporate. You give them a copy, you send them a copy of your book, you send them a copy of your business or your marketing plan, your business plan, and something else and something else and something else. And then they go through an evaluation process and see if it's worthy of being on the shelves. Now I didn't do that. And so by the 7th Barnes & Noble that picked this story up, it was the Barnes & Noble up in Beverly Hills. It's up in the Grove. Mm-hmm. And right, it was like so amazing. And they said, hey, would you do a book signing? It's tomorrow. And I was actually up at UCLA getting my spine checked up on, and I was going to be there anyway. I was like, fuck yeah, man, that's fucking awesome. So it was really one of the first real book signings I had. I had little ones at like the libraries and stuff, but this is, I mean, it's fucking Beverly Hills, man. And
right. Very
and so
cool.
Right, and so they actually took the books that I had on stock, which had created a purchase order, and that's sort of how corporate found out what I was doing. But anyway, so after I got done with my book signing, this old guy walks up to me and he's like, "You have $1 million story right here." And I was like, "Hey, sir, thank you very much. Like, that's pretty validating. That's pretty awesome." And he's like, "You don't know who I am. Like, it's still Beverly Hills, right? Don't you know who I am?"
Right.
And I was like, I apologize. I kind of blamed it on a brain injury. I was like, "I'm sorry, I don't recognize you." And he's like, "Oh, well, I'm Alan Oppenheimer." And I'm like, I apologize. Brain injury yet again. Like, that name does not ring a bell. I apologize. And so Alan Oppenheimer was the doctor on the $6 Million Man. He was also the voiceover for Skeletor for the He-Man cartoons. And I was like, holy fucking shitballs. $6 Million Man, Bionic Woman, Bionic Cat. I was like, fuck, dude, if that guy is telling me I have, a really good, product, then fuck, I'm doing good shit, And
that's
he's like,
excellent.
He's like, what's your next step here? And I didn't think about it before I said it, but I got a little bit intimidated. I was like, fuck, I think I'm going to make a movie. He's like, I think you should. And so I started writing the screenplay. So I'm like a quarter way into writing a screenplay.
Right.
With the hopes of turning this into a children's movie. And, hopefully having a blockbuster from it so I can get my house on the beach and like throw beach parties.
Yeah, in Coronado.
Right. There's not too much property left in Coronado.
No, there's not. No.
There's not. No. Yeah. And then it would be shenanigans like I was in my 20s again.
Right.
Be
maybe
like,
Laguna.
You.
Ooh.
I
like Laguna.
Laguna's super nice. I was kind of thinking like Bird Rock, which is kind of just past La Jolla and just before Rancho Santa Fe.
Oh, I'm familiar.
Did
a bed and breakfast over there once, actually.
Look
believe
at
it or not. I know. It was one of those post-deployment things. It was like, buddy, do not disturb. Okay?
Right.
Let me tell you what. You got a good mattress in there? How's the box spring? What are we talking about? What's the ratio on the bounce? Give it to me. You don't even know the ratio on the bounce? Christ. What the hell's wrong with it? What kind of operation you running here?
Right.
God.
Dude, I tell you what, I have so much love for the Marines. We actually had hard site barracks. We were on Fob Falcon, and but I could open my window. So in my room, this will piss everybody off who had to sleep in their fucking tents. But I had bunk beds in my room, so I could lay out my gear. We had heaters, we had showers, we had a pool table, we had lazy boy chairs, because my RXO, he's like, you guys have zero downtime, so if you do get any downtime, I want to give you everything that you need. And kudos to him, so the minutes of downtime that we had, was nice. So I would open my window every morning and see you poor bastards getting out of your tents in those delicious small little shorts, and you were doing your PT and, kind of over across the way. And I was like, oh, you're so pretty. Like, oh God. Like that's
silkies.
That was like the greatest way to wake up in the morning. Like, you all were laying next to me. Like, look at my harem. Look at all you fabulous fucking people.
Oh my God.
It was just it was like, I felt bad for you. And that's, they keep you angry for a reason, right? They keep you pissed off and in the dirt for a reason. But it was just, God, it was such a great visual to wake up to. I appreciate it. I love you guys.
Fantastic.
High five.
Being one of those poor bastards who's covered in sweat and filth all the time, you're welcome.
I think that's why I have more of an affliction for the Marine Corps side, but as you get older, you smarten up. You're like, yeah. Let's not hate those guys. They're fucking crazy.
Right. Oh God.
Right.
So in moving forward, where are you going to take it next? Because we're going to have to wrap up here pretty soon.
Yeah. So basically, what we did is we actually started a nonprofit, and real quick. So when I got back from Iraq, my nephew he was diagnosed with a very rare cancer. And I remember going to his room, and there was nothing in there to inspire him. And I was so I kind of fast forward thought, fuck it, I have a book that people are inspired by. So I know what I'm going to do. So I created a 501c. We've been approved as a 501c. It's called, or you can go to www.3. So it's the numerical 3 paws, as in kitten paws, 3pawsup.org, or you can go to 3pawsup.com and read the story. And what we're going to do is we're creating an ambassadorship to where people who are inspirational and recognizable within their community are going to become ambassadors. They're going to take our book and pre-coordinated, and they're going to go to their local Children's, Rady's, Shriners, St. Jude's hospital, and they're going to deliver this book to kids that are in critical care hospitals nationwide.
Very cool.
And this is a 90-10 nonprofit. So what the money is going to do is we've created a publishing company, because I'm self-published. And so if you are a veteran or a first responder, we are going to teach you how to write a children's book, give you the matrix, pay for everything. You're going to tell me your heroic story, because we're going to put it together in a children's book, and I'm going to take your children's book and I'm going to pump it into the mechanism where these ambassadors, these celebrity ambassadors, are going to deliver your book to kids that are in critical care hospitals as well. So you get your story. In no other way do you get to tell your story other than in a way that's going to inspire people, right? You're not going to tell me about the blood and the guts and all those things. You're going to tell me about the heroism that you got to see that wasn't recognized, because it's often not. All the things that we see, you don't get Bronze Stars and all that stuff. I mean, if a lot of people see it, you do, but we see acts of heroism every day in law enforcement, in firefighters, in veterans, in active duty personnel, and I'm going to tell their story. Mm-hmm. And so that's what it's kind of a twofold mission. That's what we're going to do. So from this point, like I said, we're doing the screenplay. We hope to make it a movie. So if folks from Disney and Universal want to reach out to us, that's what we're fucking waiting for, because we love you. And then we're pretty lucky. We're doing a lot more public speaking. We've got the Women's Museum here in Balboa Park this Sunday at 4:30. We're going to be there. And then, a really big one is Biocom. Biocom represents 800 of the biotech, genome, and pharma companies here in San Diego. And I'm going to be their guest speaker for their gala here this year. So, my goal is on the personal side, of course, is to get this book out to more people and do more public speaking. And on the nonprofit side, of course, is to ensure that the people that are inspirational within our communities give their time to us, so that we can give time back to these kids that we're trying to encourage to get through whatever their struggle is that they're dealing with. And then at the very back end, I'm going to find those people within our community that have these stories and be able to tell them. And so I'm giving back to the veteran community. I'm giving back to my own community with, these kids. And then, hopefully one day this is my legacy. I don't have kids. This injury has made it so I can't have kids. And it took me a while to be okay with that. And so this is how I think people forget to build a legacy and just leave it, amongst their kids or whatnot. But this is my legacy. So if people want to donate and partake in creating a legacy with me, go to www.3pawsup.com and read the story. You can reach out to us. And then if you want to do on the donating side or want to sign up to be an ambassador, you can go to www.3pawsup.org.
Nice. Very good. Well, that's fantastic. Hell yes.
Right. So the other thing that we really wanted to get into, and I really wanted to give you a shout out for, is really, I was struggling so bad with trying to figure out how to do this nonprofit because I don't have a background in business. It's not. I can overthrow a country with you. I can mitigate your risk with you, but I don't know shit about starting a nonprofit or business or whatnot. So this 5-paragraph. Why the fuck do I keep forgetting the last part of it?
It's okay. People have to check it out at 5paragraph.com. No, it's
right.
a 5-paragraph business plan. Yeah.
So when I got this from you, and you and I had talked about it for a while, I tell you what, I was so in the weeds. And all I was looking for is a business mentor. And so when I downloaded this thing, it literally makes me feel like, don't take it personally, wife, but it feels like I have you in my pocket. I feel like I have you as a mentor in my pocket through this 5-paragraph business plan. Because what it does is it takes my nonprofit or, my public speaking side, and it literally makes it so fucking simple to basically get on track of what the hell am I doing, because I don't have a business or I don't have a background. I have a bachelor's degree, but it's in terrorism shit. It's not in entrepreneurial, and it's not in business, and it's not in marketing, it's not in communication, it's not in any of those things. And so kudos to you for creating and improving a widget, for making it so people like me, veterans like me, veteranpreneurs, whatever you want to use, can literally download this, print it. Like I literally printed it out the other day, and I'm literally plugging and playing all the shit that it's literally telling me what to do. I mean, it's not board, right? It's the same shit that we were given when we went out on patrol. But right before you went and conducted your mission, you'd get this, and it's it's telling you where to go, your call signs, who's in your team, where's dust off, or who, all this other shit, and it's making my day simpler. In a very chaotic day, it just really makes it simpler. So I'm going to give you a shout out, and I don't have to do that because I'm an asshole. But if you don't if you don't download 5-paragraph business plan and you are struggling, then you're doing it the wrong way. So kudos to fucking you for literally being my mentor in my pocket. And that's literally how I'm going to tag you from now on. You are my mentor in my pocket. I can pull you out when I want you. Wait, that didn't sound right. Fucking awesome.
Gotta love the innuendos.
I literally just had a picture of me pulling you out. But then I was like, that's so
like a little Joey, like a little like here I am. Your wish is my command.
Yes. So,
and I do appreciate that, but I tell you what, I always lean very, very heavily on the team because we have excellent advisors that all played a key role in that. So
yeah, and literally what I feel like now is I don't feel like I'm going to call you and not know what the fuck I'm going to ask you. And I think that's where the business plan works out and partnered up with the advisors, right? So now I can call you up and ask an intelligible question. But a week ago, and you and I have had these calls, I don't know what the fuck to ask you because what I don't know. And it's so intimidating if you're a new business owner, if you're a veteran transitioning from active service and trying to be an entrepreneur, it can be very intimidating, whether we admit it or not. And I don't really get intimidated very much, but it's so intimidating because I'm like, shit, what I don't know. I don't even know what to ask. And so when I downloaded this, I was like, fuck yeah, dude. This makes it so that I can call an advisor up and ask them a question that is granular, and I can plug it back in and be like, oh, fuck, thanks. There you go. Hey, thanks.
There it is.
So that's fucking genius. I hate you a little bit because I fucking wish I would have came up with that, but clearly I can't because I come up with kittens.
It's okay. I rely very heavily on the military for training us in it, so I didn't come up with any of that shit either. You know what I mean?
No, I mean it's a testament to how much power and ingenuity the veteran community has, and that's why I've always encouraged veterans. you know what? If you want to get a 9 to 5, hey, that's fine. But we are the biggest innovators on the planet. And we're the ones that can go to the private sector and say, hey, private sector, come over here. I want to talk to you, because that's what I get to do in November. In November, I get to stand in front of 800 people in bio, in tech, in genome. And here I have a 3D printed prototype prosthetic that's going through the patenting process. And I can talk to them now and say, hey, private sector, I need you to come over to me and fuck it. Instead of recreating this prototype, why don't we just create the tissue? Mm-hmm. And what about think of Mary Dag, right? We all know Mary, Army EOD girl, double amputee, double arm amputee. Fuck it. Instead of just giving her prosthetics, because I've always asked her, why are you not using prosthetics? And she always tells me, I don't want to use prosthetics because I can't feel anything. And so that keeps circling around in my brain. And so now I have this opportunity to talk to these companies and say, this is exactly what the veteran community needs. I want you to make it. Right.
Very
so
cool.
I always encourage, veterans who are coming out of active service, or even if you've been a veteran for a while, consider all the resources that you do have, and consider coming into, the business side of the house and creating something, making something, partnering with somebody. Improving on the widget, making a 5-paragraph business plan that fucking makes it easy for the rest of us who don't have those backgrounds. Help us out. You have everything you need right now to do everything you need to do right now.
Yes. Well, and I told you that I was going to give you a little bit of like, hey, you can do this with your 5-paragraph business plan, right?
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
So there's two different things. There's two different benefits. One is you're running multiple projects at the same time. So if you have multiple projects and you're like, hey, wait a minute, does this mean that I need to have multiple business plans? Technically, yes, it does. But the idea of the 5-paragraph business plan is write a master vision of everything that you want to do. And then in the execution paragraph where you task different objectives, each one of those can be separate business plans that you have the ability to run with. Now, the beauty about it is you're using the same outline. So anybody that you collaborate with in that same outline, you're going to be able to maintain accountability with. So let's say, for instance, you want to delegate a certain system that's within it, so long as they're using that template, that understanding of the 5 basic paragraphs, you're going to be able to communicate more concisely. So anybody that you're partnering up with, collaborating with, working with on a daily, if you just boil it down to even just situation, mission, execution, you're going to be that much quicker in what you're doing. And you're going to be able to maintain that accountability. Because, of course, you want to debrief, compile your after-action review, those lessons learned as you're going about so that you can do the plug and play, right? So it's one of those things. So basically, look at it like create one umbrella 5-paragraph business plan that is your executive plan, and then multiple elements that are in 5 paragraphs. So you're basically creating a battalion op order and then different company op orders, and then how each one are going to fit in order to maintain overall mission success.
Yeah, and you can even get more granular and create a detachment order so that it's like for fundraising.
Exactly.
Right?
I
don't have a background in fundraising, but when I looked at this op ord, I was like, holy shit, you know what? Now I can almost lift it off of my plate and delegate it, right? Just we're NCOs, that's what we do, right? Delegate authority. Right. And you could delegate it, and they have their sector limits. Right? Very clear. Here's your left. Here's your right. If you have to go out of that, you have to ask me first.
Right.
Right. And that's how it creates that accountability, which I couldn't figure out before. How the hell am I going to be able to do all this stuff? I'm trying to do a movie. I'm trying to do a second book. I'm thinking about, this nonprofit. How the hell do I, Jesus Christ. And it causes stress. And it's not like deployment. I love deployment stress. I think you probably agree that's it's thriving. We know how to deal with that. But when you're dealing with stress that you don't know how to deal with, it just creates all these other stupid issues. I'm Italian, man. I love to eat, and I realized. Like last week, I was like, fuck me, my pants are really tight. I have a great ass, but I was like, fuck me, my ass is a little big for these jeans. And usually I wouldn't ever say that, and like that wouldn't be a bad thing, but I was like, fuck my life. This kind of sucks, right? So I was trying to, and really kind of what this thing does is it allows and it's so cliche, and I hate when business people say, you know, the 30,000, 40,000 foot level, but it really does, right? It really allows you to put all your elements in and stand back and take a look at it and be able to, you know, like a puzzle board, you know, lift it and rearrange it and be like, oh, there you go. And then give the completed plan to your troops on the ground and let them go do their thing. And that's really what I've been missing. And I've been searching for a mentor for so long. But what I realize is that as business people, we're so goddamn busy. People don't have time to be mentors for 6 months. People don't have that time. And I don't
right now without getting paid.
Yeah. Well, no, and
there are other resources. Yes.
Yeah. And a lot of people aren't going to, they'll do a phone call or, maybe 2 phone calls or this or that, but time is valuable. And when I became a public speaker, I learned, I can't keep giving away these things at no cost. And that's really where I learned how valuable my time was. And so I'm literally still going to hashtag you mentor in my pocket. Because that's really what you've created. Like, you literally created you for me at my disposal, simplified it, and allowed it so that, like I said, when I call the advisor, I have a specific question for him. I'm not so lost in the sauce that a 5-minute phone call, or an hour phone call now could be, 5-10 minutes, because I know exactly what I'm looking for. So kudos to you, man. That was fucking genius.
Hey, thanks.
Genius.
We think so.
I think so too. Yeah.
Well,
next
right
to
on.
having sex, that was like the most exciting thing in the last year.
Hell yes.
Pretty far up there because
look at
I haven't had any
that
since surgery, but it was like fuck. Like I feel like I discovered plutonium or something. I was like, holy shit, this is great.
Yes. That's fantastic. That's just so great to hear. I'm glad that you're reaping the value of it. That's what's fantastic. So
yeah, and this is really, I mean, I downloaded it a day or two ago, and it's going to take me a minute to digest and put things where I want to, and be like, you know what, this is when I need to call the advisor. This is where I'm at. This is what I need to do. But like I said, I don't feel like I'm climbing Mount Everest the same way. I feel like I have a whole shitload of Sherpas with me now to carry my fucking shit. Right?
Nice.
I feel like I have Sherpas in my pocket.
There you go. Sherpas and mentors, just all sorts of little guys in there.
Right? And my cat. The cat's in the backpack.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, and of course, I mean, those tutorial episodes are always going to be on there. You can get a free advisor call. And for folks who don't know what we're talking about, the 5-paragraph business plan is available on Amazon as well, the guidebook, and that completes the overall package. Everything except for the guidebook is free. It's easier to just say that than to list all the free shit. It's like tutorials, advisor, workbook, template, and then, like when you're ready, pull the trigger and buy the book. It's one of those things. But the reason why I put it that way is because we really did build it so that if you're a veteran who worked down the operations order already and you're fluent in it, then just get the template and, listen to a couple of tutorials if you need to. Like I said, they're always there. We update the template, and that's always free, and you've already, stated you can call an advisor. So we're trying to put as much out there as possible to make sure that folks just are empowered. So,
yeah. And you know what, it's kind of a good way to put it, because what I've learned is that I reached out to some other well-known veterans within the community, and it was so frustrating because they never had the time for me. And I really just needed a minute of their time. But it's never really a minute, right? Because when you don't know what you're doing, you don't take a minute. And so I really never got the answers that I needed. Right. And I don't know. How long were you and I on that phone call? We spent a while on a phone call, and literally one phone call that I had with you that was so in the weeds was more helpful than any other veteran's been in the last 3 years of this whole process. Very cool. And that means a lot, because I tell you what, I think people have the suicide awareness. I think they have it wrong. Doing push-ups, that's great. Love you guys for doing it. That's awesome. But if you create a widget that gives a veteran another mission, I think that's what our goal is. I'm giving them a mission. I want you to tell me your stories. I'm going to create a children's book. I think if we give them another mission, they're going to find what that passion is. And for me, my PTSD was so fucking bad. It was ridiculous. And for me, I decided one day, you know what? I just want to talk about fucking kittens for a while. I need to calm down. I haven't calmed down. I'm 44. I've never been married. I have no kids. I have been running and gunning since I was 14. And now I'm in a place where I could just take a breath. Doesn't sound like it yet, but and so what this really does is it gives veterans who don't have a mission and who miss being the most important human being on the planet to somebody that was next to them. And not their wives, of course, not disparagingly, but this really encourages them. Hey, you know what? If you don't even want to start a business, this plan will help you in whatever you're going to do, right? It's going to help you family life. It's going to help you just to arrange your thoughts. It's going to help you. It truly is for business. But I think our mission needs to be getting, veterans on their own mission, right? And planting the seed and having them culminate it and put the work in. And that's really what this helps me do. It helps me because I feel like I was sort of, like I said, I feel like I was trying to get up Mount Everest by myself with no oxygen tanks. And every now and then I'd have a lifeline for 5 minutes or a text message or something. And so I think our goal really is to give back to our community and not just give back to them, but help them find what that spark is so that they don't take their lives. And that's really what it is, right? You just don't feel important. Maybe
right.
You're dealing with
validated.
Yeah. And that's really the word, validating. The fact that I'm on Car and Sea Stories talking about my kitten, that's so fucking validating. That's telling me I'm going in the right direction. I've busted my ass. I've figured a lot of this stuff out, and it's not easy. It's difficult, and it sucks being vulnerable and telling your story and all of these things and running the risk of ridicule because you're not talking about blowing shit up. You're talking about kittens,
right?
And so it's always a little bit intimidating for me, but really I think that's really what's going to help our veteran community and hopefully really really lower that veteran suicide rate. We all need to get a mission, right? And is your mission being writing a children's book? Is your mission starting a new company? Maybe your mission is partnering with your buddy, right? I mean, look at Matt Best and look at the veteran community, we're in coffee, we're in podcasts, we're in clothing, we're in movies now, we're in all this shit. We have so much more to give. We just need more people to participate and become, entrepreneurs and start a business and really this 5-paragraph business plan is it literally is the first thing people should be downloading. I mean, it's fucking free, man. Go get it. It doesn't, it's just the simplest thing. And I don't think the book's that expensive. I think it's $14-15. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
we're trying to make it simple for you here. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, man. If I knew about this 3 years ago, fuck me. This would be so much different. But that's the joys of people being, innovators. It's simple shit. People don't have to start a clothing brand. People don't have to start a company that, or coffee or it could be simple shit. Fix the widget, make it better, and my position is inside of the STEAM community, which is science, technology, arts, engineering and mathematics. And for me, I'm really getting these kids secretly to conceptualize inventing things to save our lives.
Right.
My book is about technology. Right. And so when your kid is in the hospital, hope to God nobody's kid's ever in critical care, but the numbers say that they will at some point, whether it's illness or injury. I'm giving families skin in the game in the veteran community that they've never had before, right? So if they don't know a veteran, now they will. And secretly, if they've never thought about innovating, now they will. And it really is plant the seed, right? And see what happens because these kids are going to save our lives. I've already been saved once by technology.
Right.
And I'm hoping that as life progresses, we're going to get saved again because, then it's a numbers game. Something's going to happen.
Right. Well, that is fantastic. You are certainly adding value to the world, and for that, we commend you. So, thank you. Thank you for being a part of the conversation, joining us on Cigars and Sea Stories, and accomplishing what you have. I'm sure that there is so much more ahead of you. This is fantastic that we've had the opportunity to sit down. I mean, this is one of our longer episodes, but frankly, we've been on the phone before, like we said, and I I love what you're up to as far as, the motivation, the passion, the desire, where you're going with it. You are a dyed-in-the-wool entrepreneur, so just keep rolling with it. I mean, we see entrepreneurs and business leaders all the time. And really what it ultimately boils down to is values and heart, and you definitely have it. So you're going in the right direction.
I just really want to get a date out of all this. I mean, not from you, because your wife would kill both of us, but I mean,
She would. She's a fucking ninja. People don't even know. They underestimate her.
I'm not in my 20s, man. I don't screw with the married folks. So, not that I did when I was in my 20s, of course. But
we'll get you a date. We'll get you a date. It's fine. Yeah. We'll find somebody out there. Somebody that talks like Bennett, Like, he's not here, so I just poke fun. Just every once in a while, just poke the bear.
So, hey, man, thanks for your time. You're killing it, and I could feel you right on the cusps of just a whole bunch of shit that you probably didn't even notice. And I kind of revert back to the fact of I don't have any kids. I never would have thought I was writing a children's book. And you give this platform for veterans to be able to, talk about shit that we don't always get the advantage of doing. And so I really, 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 really super appreciate it. The 5-paragraph thing, man, that's fucking genius. Kudos to you. And so thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Such an honor. I feel like I'm all grown up because I've just got on Cigar and Sea Stories where only the really cool big swinging dicks end up getting on. And here I am. So literally when I hang up, I'm going to run around the house and squeal like a 2-year-old. I'm super excited.
Well, right on. I do appreciate that. That's fantastic. And for those listening at home, if you would like to join us on an episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, best of luck. No, I'm just kidding. You can go on cigarsandseastories.com. You can suggest a guest. You can recommend to a friend. There's all sorts of stuff that we're doing with the website. Check it out. And Spartan Media, thank you for that. You guys rock. They're a fellow veteran-owned and operated media company who built a fantastic website. And we love collaborating and hooking them up with other veteran-owned and operated businesses. So get at us. Heroes Media Group, which we are proud to be a part of, is expanding daily. I mean, it's crazy. Every time I get Adam on the phone, he's always got some new show that's coming up, which is just fantastic. And the guy's a mover and shaker.
Adam Bird is the man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I felt super grown up when I was on his show. I was like, holy shit, where does it go from here? And then it just gets better because now I'm on with you. Jesus Christ.
He swung through town and actually stayed the night over at my place. And we did some masterminding with him and Clinton. Oh, man, it was good. It's good. Adam, you're a motivated fucker. I got to tell you that much right now. And
I think I grabbed his ass once.
Nice. Who hasn't?
Right? Right.
Ruined bicycle. I mean, it's, right? It's one of those.
Yeah, I got to hang out with him in Arizona when I was traveling out there, and he, he's a busy guy, just like all of us are. But I thought it was so cool that I was actually driving back to California, and he's like, God damn, I really want to hang out with you for a minute. His whole day was packed, but then he's like, hey, if you want, meet me at my kid's football game. And I went to his kid's football game. He's got a great son. And literally talk shop while he was, half in rooting for his kid and half, helping the veteran community. So he took the time out to do that, and just a testament to who that dude is. He has a really good heart. He's a good dude. I like him.
Amen. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and he and the team over there are fantastic. They do the editing services for us, and all the other podcasters that are out there. If you folks want a home with a solid network, check out Kuro's Media Group. All right, and one last one, but definitely not least. The guys over at veteranslist.us have got 185,000 plus veteran-owned and operated businesses, and they're amazing collaborators. It's Rick Yost, Will Amos. We've had them on Cigars and Sea Stories before, and I don't think folks really understand the power of veteranslist.us and the collaboration that can come out of it. You can get a featured membership on there half off. It's 50% off by entering in discount code Cigars and Sea. And by entering in discount code Cigars and Sea and getting that half off featured membership, you're brought higher up in the overall ranking structure, and there are different opportunities abound. So it's a very cool system that they're working on over there. It's really neat. So you guys should definitely check it out. Karolyn Smith, think about getting, on veterans. I mean, they do good things.
Dude, I just wrote down the super secret spy code. Like, I'm secretly high-fiving you in the air going, fuck, I did. Yes, see? Perfect.
Nailed it. That's why folks stick around. It's one of those things. It's one of those.
Well, I was just hoping like random dudes would like flash me on this thing. I was like, oh, just audio. Mother effer, son of a.
And on that note, we cue the music.